Okay, ChatGPT 5.5 and Claude Opus 4.7 have been out for quite some times now. So today I'm gonna make comparisons in three categories. So the first one is the time, and second one is the usage, and the third one is gonna be quality. And I'm gonna do the test in three types of tests. So the first one is email copy, and the second one is the design of the landing page, and the third one is the PPT generation with images. I'm not really interested in talking about the benchmark because there are a lot of creators out there who talk about the benchmark, and they have done lots of testing using these two models as a comparison. But for my personal case, because I need to make a decision which one am I going to keep and which one am I going to stop subscribing to. Now, another bit is I went on Reddit and then I found this Codex subreddit, and I found that lots of people have been quite satisfied with ChatGPT Codex, which is a bit rare because if you go to another creators, they are going to say that Claude is much better than ChatGPT in so many ways. Okay, so let's have a look at the post. So the first one, they say that Codex 5.5 is the GOAT, right? Okay, so this is Codex subreddit, so of course they're going to say that. And this is another post where someone made a shift from Claude Code to Codex and they're happy. This is another one again, and this person is asking about why do people spend so much money on Claude. On the other hand, when we go to Claude Code subreddit and we see lots of disappointment. What else? Okay, so this is one. And this is basically Opus 4.6, feels like Opus 4.7 today. Lazy, doesn't follow instructions, fights and argues with me instead of just doing the damn task. Is it just me, or does Opus 4.7 feel dumber today? Now, without waiting too much, let's perform the tests. Now, this cold outreach itself, what it does is, first it's going to search the lead, and then second, it's going to enrich the lead data, and then the third is going to draft the message, and then fourth is going to send the email and also record the data to Excel sheet based on our permission. What I'm trying to compare between Claude Code and Codex is first, how it is going to craft the messages. Are the messages humane enough, or do they look like AI slop? And the second is the usage. What's going to be the percentage to execute the tasks I just mentioned before between Claude Code and also ChatGPT Codex? So I have run both these on ChatGPT Codex and Claude Code, and I can say that the Claude Code is slower and the ChatGPT is definitely faster. And unfortunately, I don't have the proof to show you that, which I don't know where I can show you. But yeah, anyway, to be honest, I didn't mean to create a video out of this, but then I just got curious, right? We got the results and I am a bit surprised with the results, especially with the usage, which we are going to see it later. So that's why I decided to make a video about this. Now, let's have a look at the results from the Claude Code in terms of the writing, because we know that Claude is very good at writing, right? It's humane, they say, right? Compared to ChatGPT, which is a people pleaser. So let's see. Now, the problem with this is it mentioned quite some fancy words that actually don't interest human being at all, like finance and managerial economics background behind the agency. So they say so basically these two fancy words, which I barely understand what they mean, they stood out. So for me, what stands out is actually you bench press 200 pounds, or you do marathon below 2 hours, for instance. What else? But not like this, This is I don't understand what it means. So yeah, so far from the two emails, I can say that so basically it's trying to sound fancy, and then that's interesting. You know what I mean? So yeah, okay, let's see the third, and then after that we're just gonna move on. Yeah, this is something I understand. I mean, not fully, but yeah, okay. It mentioned something about Netflix, and then well, I definitely didn't stop scrolling. What I would do is I'm just gonna do a little bit of a digging and try to understand more about this company. And then yeah. But yeah, the underlying issue is still the same. It tries to kind of scrape the recent or the most amazing you know event, and then try to pretend to be impressed by it, right? And then send that as the part of the personalized message, the first paragraph. Yeah. Okay. Okay, let's compare that with ChatGPT. Hi, Mike. Your move from facility operations into running a marketing agency stood out. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to have a look at the writing style in here. I think I might ask Claude Code to use some kind of words that will be touching to the audience, to the readers, which not at all is more like a people pleaser. All right, let's move on to the third one, or the first one. Steve, you're focused on helping breweries. Again. So I can't believe you have narrowed numbers. Yeah, okay. I don't know. What do you think? Now, let's compare the usage. Okay, so this is the results from Claude, yeah? And so in the beginning, it was 0. I promise you it was 0. And then that's why I said I wasn't really interested in making a video out of it. But, this is a perfect kind of opportunity, right? So that we can kind of see, right? So it was 0. And then just to execute the result like that, right? And both of them produce quite accurate kind of a lead finding anyway. Then it took 34% using Opus 4.7 medium effort. Yeah. Okay, let's compare with the ChatGPT. This is ChatGPT, and it took 5%. Yeah. Next is the landing page. So I'm gonna be asking Opus 4.7 and ChatGPT 5.5 to create a landing page about drone service for inspections in the challenging environments. And then in there will be some images generated by GPT image 2 for Opus, because we need that as the external tool. I'm gonna be providing the API, and then it's stored on the .environment file. So I'm gonna click enter so that it can start to work, and then once it's finished, I will let you know. Okay, so the next one is using the same prompt, similar to ChatGPT Codex. So the difference is I'm not asking it to read .environment file because GPT image 2 is actually embedded on the codex, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and click enter, and let's see the results. Okay, surprisingly, the ChatGPT codex, which I started later, has finished earlier. And let's compare that with the process from Claude. Oh, it's still running at the moment. And okay, so it says that the GPT image 2 works, but then again, still not finished, right? We haven't seen the index.html. Okay, so while I was waiting, I asked ChatGPT Codex to start a web server so that I can just access that remotely. So we got index.html and the styles and also assets, right? So we got 3 images in here. So I'm gonna click it and see the results. And tell you what, so I'm just gonna copy this, and this is the result. Okay, let's scroll down. Plan and inspection. So we got the work email and everything else, yeah? Okay, what about the environments? It mentioned about, yep, this is actually quite interesting. So, well, this is medium. This is not the best. Okay, so this is the name of the company. Interesting. Okay, and the mission. So the links work, essentially. They go somewhere, right? Even though they're not necessarily a different page, but at least they go somewhere. Okay, it took definitely longer than the ChatGPT codex. So we got the web server running as well, and then we got the index.html and also the style.css, and also some images. So we got more images in here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we got 5 images, right? So what about the results? Okay, let's just use our browser. Ooh, this looks cooler in my opinion. Okay, yeah. Okay, but this part is similar compared to ChatGPT. Okay, let's scroll down again. Okay, so we got some configuration. Is that true? Yes, of the drone. Okay, interesting. Hmm, yeah. Okay, let's compare that with ChatGPT again one more time. This is obviously simpler, and there are lots of landing page of a drone companies with that looks similar to this. But yeah, this one is really impressive, very futuristic, right? And okay, let's check the link. Okay, seems like the links are working. Missions. Yeah, I'm impressed. How about the usage though? So it took longer for Claude, but then again, the usage is actually quite fantastic, right? It's 21% medium effort. Yeah. ChatGPT, 7%. Okay. Yes, 7%. So okay, so for the last test, it's gonna be PDF to PPT generation, right? Conversion, yes. And so the prompt is gonna be create a skill that converts PPT from PDFs, so multiple PDFs. So I'm just gonna let Opus or ChatGPT to kind of figure out themselves. And then, of course, in the presentation, we should have some GPT image, right? Generated image from an AI, basically. Okay, but since I don't have the skill, not on this PC anyway, so I'm gonna ask Opus Claude Code and also ChatGPT to create the skill. And this is the prompt essentially, and I'm ready. I'm gonna click enter, and then we're gonna be looking at the usage in terms of the skill creation and then the conversion itself. So it's gonna be combined. Yeah. Okay, let's wait. Okay, so this is going to be the prompt from, now this is going to be a prompt for ChatGPT Codex. So a little bit of modification because what we stored in here is actually not .claude, but .codex, yeah? So it's good. I think, yeah, it's going to be medium, the same. That was Opus medium as well. Okay, I think I'm ready. I'm going to hit enter and let's see how it goes. Okay, so this is going to be the paper I'm going to be using to generate a PPT. And this is basically about reinforcement learning of a quadruped, right? Using a proximal policy optimization. Okay, so let's explore a little bit and we can kind of see some mathematical equations and also some pictures. All right, let's go ahead and generate the PPT using Claude Code. Okay, so to call that the scale, what we need to do is we need to type this slash PDF to PPT and then the location for the paper. So I'm gonna hit enter and let's see the results. Now, while we're waiting on Codex, it's similar but a little bit different. In here, we have to specify the output. But anyway, it's the same paper. So I'm ready and I'm gonna hit enter. Let's see the result. Surprisingly, Claude is faster. So let's explore a little bit, yeah? I'm not sure whether, oh, this is the output and then the example. And then we got some images, right? And then this is basically the file. So I'm gonna, okay. There you go. This is the result. Okay. Well, I've done better actually. The comparison between Sonnet and, what was that? Quen in my previous video. Okay. I don't understand why suddenly, you know, including the mobile robots in here. Okay. Wow, man, I'm not really impressed. Okay, so let's wait for the results from ChatGPT 5.5. Okay, so this is the results from ChatGPT 5.5, and yeah, I mean, if I have to choose, I like this one better, right? Because the pictures, it's essentially the prompts from the ChatGPT 5.5 to generate the image, because the engine behind the image generation is the same, which is GPT image 2. But if you compare that with Claude, right, it's like a cartoon essentially, isn't it? So yeah, and it's simple, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's too simple. And this one is a bit so yeah, it's got this I don't know what this is. So it's this is essentially the explanation about the ZSL or PPO, right? And then this is the part of the paper. I'm not really sure why this is empty. And so yeah, I mean, it does look like a presentation, but the quality itself, the content itself, we gotta have to check, right? And as you can see, that it's actually quite, the picture is much more realistic, right? But then again, we have to check the content. But if I have to choose, I would choose this one over the other one. But I think doing this one, right? I think Sonnet, which is the model below Opus, is actually doing a good job, because we tested that on my previous video, and yeah, it was much better than this. Now, for the usage itself, from the skill creation and then the conversion, it took 19% for Claude, yeah? And for the ChatGPT, it took 12%. Okay, from these experiments, we can kind of conclude from 3 different categories, right? So the first one is the time, the second one is the usage, and then the third one is the quality. And we were also doing this in 3 different tests. So the first one is the cold email generation, and then the landing page and the PDF to PPT generations. Now, before, I want to apologize that I didn't put the right numbers in terms of the usage, because there are lots of creators out there. They put like the number of tokens, input and output, and also when they talk about the time, they mention in minutes. There are ways to do that, but honestly, I didn't bother. Now, from the 3 experiments that we did, 2 out of 3, Opus is slower. And the only thing that Opus excel is basically the design. The design, as we can see that from the landing page, is excellent. But when it comes to writing, especially the copywriting, this is very subjective, yeah? But I'm not sure about you guys, but personally, I think they are kind of similar. But when it comes to usage, I do prefer ChatGPT 5.5 because it uses less token. For the results, there are sometimes slightly better or not so far behind than Opus. So what do you think? Thank you very much for watching, and I hope this is useful, and until then, see you later.